Well, that was the most important part of this trial, is that the FBI was forced to admit that they had obtained the laptop and it was genuine. So those 51 former intelligence agency officials who signed that fraudulent letter that was an information operation against the American people, my guess, they knew full well. I mean, this is a pretty small circle. The FBI, they took possession of that laptop in December 2019. They were already setting up the system for sabotaging anybody who brought that forward. Certainly what they did with Senator Grassley and I when we had the unsecured briefing, when they told us we were targets of Russian disinformation. So, again, that's important, but I was actually surprised that he was convicted. He was so obviously guilty. Even it was probably a pretty sympathetic jury in Delaware, that's Biden country, they had no choice but to convict him. So. Right. It's important to understand these are the lesser charges. As your previous guest said, the statute of limitation, they allowed to expire on the more serious tax charges. And David Weiss said these prosecutors were really dragged kicking and screaming to indict Hunter and prosecute him, but it was a successful prosecution.
I want to ask you, too, and play a little bit of David Weiss's comments yesterday where he mentions Merrick Garland as if they're actually doing their job. Let's play this remark here.
Finally, I want to thank Attorney General Garland for providing the support necessary to fulfill our mission, ensuring that we have the independence to appropriately pursue our investigations and prosecutions.
I think the mission is much deeper than that, and it is about the tens of millions of dollars that has been funneled to Biden's family members. Wouldn't you see that as sort of a mission if you were in law enforcement, if you were anywhere near that laptop, if you were David Weiss or Merrick Garland, Senator?
I think as soon as the FBI took possession of that Hunter Biden laptop, when they started looking at it, there's evidence of all kinds of crimes on that. And in fact, what they did instead is they had their Foreign Influence Task Force, which was basically a catch and kill operation. They would find or hear about derogatory information about Hunter Biden. They basically catch it and kill it. So it really didn't result in any kind of indictment. And so, no, there was corruption throughout this, I can't even call it an investigation. Again, they did everything they could to avoid bringing to the public's attention the corruption of the Biden family. And again, what needs to be exposed is the fact that not only did Hunter got tens of millions of dollars from these countries that are adversarial to America, but what did he or James or anybody else associated in the Biden family, what did they do for these millions of dollars? You know, I'm a business guy. You normally have to provide a lot of product to even get $1 million. What did Hunter Biden do? What did he bring to the table other than the fact that his dad was vice president and he could hopefully sell influence with his father?
And obviously that is the questions that remains, despite a guilty verdict and despite, you know, what will happen with this September tax case here. I want to pivot just for a moment. A very disturbing story, Senator Johnson. 8 suspected terrorists with links to ISIS. They're arrested in L.A., Philadelphia, and New York. We've had a wide open border. We've heard Christopher Wray say, you know, that we're at a heightened terror threat here. These folks got in illegally, but then there's a report that they were vetted. There's clearly a very, very concerning report here, but I honestly am more concerned how we seem to not be on the defensive here. It's almost as if they know that, yeah, something's going to happen. How could something bad not happen with the number of folks who have come across our border under Joe Biden's policy?
Well, again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Obviously, President Biden and his Democrat colleagues in Congress, their open border policy is a clear and present danger to this country. You know, they'll say they're vetting these people. There's no way you can vet millions of people. And let's face it, you don't exactly have great records in terms of criminality from some of these countries that are adversarial to America. So there's no way you can vet these people. You certainly can't vet the close to 2 million gotaways. We have no idea who those people are. And the vast majority of the 6 or 7 million people that have come across, been encountered, processed, and dispersed efficiently. And again, that's how the Biden administration describes their successful handling this problem, is they've become more efficient at encountering, processing, dispersing illegal immigrants that have no valid asylum claims. So again, this is a catastrophe for this nation. We're going to be seeing the ramifications of this open border policy for decades. And these terrorists, I think, are just only the tip of the iceberg of people that have come to this country by that open border policy that want to cause great harm to this country.